Forktales, a podcast that feeds the food and beverage world. Forktales is brought to you by Pavone Group and Vigor, a branding and marketing agency for restaurant, beverage, and hospitality brands. Learn more at vigorbranding.com. If you love what we're serving up, please give Forktales a 5-star review on your podcast service of choice. Think of it as a tip for good service.
Well, hey there. Some of you watching this may be a little confused right now. Usually Joseph is on the left side of your screen. And for those that who are watching this podcast, the reason he's on the right side is because he's a guest today. And I was honored to be one of Joseph's guests way back when. The reason we've switched sides is Joseph has accepted another position. He's no longer with Vigor or the Pavone Marketing Group, but he's off into some wonderful new things that he's going to talk to us about. And we're excited to catch up with Joseph. For those who don't know, my name is Michael Pavone. I'm the CEO of the Pavone Group, and we have several different agencies in our holding company. And we're excited to talk to Joseph. He's created 67 fantastic episodes, and we're going to hit a little bit of your history, the good old days, ask you some questions, and just find out what you're up to.
Awesome. It's great to be here.
Since you're in your house, it probably is always great to be there. But anyway.
That's right.
All right. So let's see. Let's talk about a little bit. What have you been up to? Talk about your career, what you're heading to now, and what you're excited about as far as the restaurant industry and technology.
Yeah. So as you said, I forayed out of the advertising and marketing world into more tech forward focus and space. I'm currently vice president of digital experience at a transformation company. There's not much detail I can say, but we'll say that we're building an experience management system for restaurant brands. What really got me excited about the tech space is how much this industry is going through a breakneck speed digital transformation. One day we'll be able to do a podcast where we don't mention the pandemic. Today's not that day. The pandemic really spurred on any mules that were out there. And now everyone is realizing that tech is not the way of the future. It's now. And part of that is how do we get people through ordering faster, quicker, keep them happy? How do we pull some of that share of wallet away from third-party delivery? And then more importantly, how do we make sure that brand teams have access to the tools so they can pivot and make pivots in real time, all through a singular portal that brings together an average of 5 to 8 different systems? So very nerdy stuff, but that's the stuff that I get excited about.
It sounds like you have the secret sauce. It's awesome. I mean, you're right. I mean, obviously the whole world's changed. You see these lines at drive-thrus, the delivery services. You see the clients trying to get their share back because these delivery services have come out and taken, their hands in their pocket. And it's really been it's amazing how fast that happened. And certainly the pandemic exacerbated it. So it's kind of interesting to watch, and it'll be great to watch you and what you're doing as the time moves on. Okay, so let's jump back a little bit. You don't like blasting people with emails. You want to talk about that?
I don't like blasting people in general. I think it's a broader, what started as sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing, or not a tongue-in-cheek thing, but like one moment. I always cringe when I hear the words e-blast or anything like that, because it's antithetical to behaviors of humans in general. Nobody's walking around saying, gosh, I really hope a brand would blast me today. And it sort of harkens to like the old school mentality of advertising and marketing. When I say old school, I mean like way back in the day where we were just doing billboards and magazine ads where it was push, 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 push. Well, the people have the power. They have the power of no longer just turning the dial, as we used to say in the TV days, or flipping the page. They have the power to completely ignore a brand and shut them out. And even more so, they have the power to cancel a brand if they get too aggressive, right? And so blast then, as I pondered it more, became almost a I want to say rallying cry, but it's going to be more of the same. There's just a lot of violent terminology in our industry, and it's kind of sad because we're not at war with people. We're looking to befriend and hopefully get some people to fall in love with our clients, no matter what side of the creative or consulting table you're on. The goal is to get them to love the brand. And you're not going to do that by blasting them or launching a campaign, another war term. It's more, how do you become friends? And I like to think of this world that we're in as one big party. And if you walked into that party alone and you just at the top of your lungs said, "Hey, everyone, I just want you to know that I'm really cool." You're immediately not. And you're going to have a really hard time convincing anyone that you are after that moment. Yet that's how we approach things today. We, meaning the collective creative advertising industry. And so that really has kind of settled into maybe more of a personal purpose to, one, identify better terminology for all these various things. That is a little more in line with what we're actually trying to do. And that's why I hate the word blast.
That's fantastic. You also wrote a book. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, 2 books. So the first book is Stop Blasting My Mama, which is essentially building off of that whole line of thinking. It's specifically about emails, but I think maybe one day in the near future, it might get expanded into general messaging, marketing theory, who knows. But what I would call my greatest achievement in the literary sense to date, or not literary because it is nonfiction, but it's called The Bullhearted brand, which is evocative of more, I would say, a general thinking and approach to how brands are built, fostered, grown, encouraged, all the words. And then, of course, marketed and all that other stuff. And so the idea is boiled down into a bunch of different, I would say 10 different anecdotes that then unfurl into theory. I've read a lot, I've done a lot, and this just happens to be the culmination of all my knowledge at the time. And it's something I'm pretty proud of.
Very cool. And you should be. Now, speaking of proud, I know you did 67 episodes. This is my first. What's your advice? I mean, obviously I'm not as good looking as you, so strike one. Yeah. Now, where do we go from here? I mean, like, what do I do? Give me some advice on how to be an engaging podcaster.
Yeah. So what's good is you have a fantastic history of being able to speak. So you're a pretty good orator. So when I talk to like a novice or someone who's looking to start, I would say the hardest thing that you're going to have to do is get rid of the ums and the uhs and the other filler words. You're pretty good at that. And so that doesn't need to be delved into further.
But now that you put that in my head.
Yeah. And I just said too. So what that's usually the toughest thing for people to do. It seems like we're very uncomfortable with silence and pauses, but you start to get really used to them, and it becomes an empowering moment. I think is when you just stop and let the silence be what it is. On the other hand, I think one of the other good things is just letting the guest talk, but that actually starts not with the host; it starts with the production team. And making sure that the kind of guests that are brought on have something valuable to say. So when a guest is rambling on, I might be doing that now, it's really easy to want to jump in. But when a guest has something really powerful to say, it's a lot easier to sit back and let them go.
Fantastic. So the second thing I learned is it's all the production team's fault if it's not good. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Well that's done. Right. Yeah.
That's great.
You're the talent. You can just point
that's take home value. That's take home value. Fantastic.
That's right.
So I want to ask you another question on your on the blog or the blog. I'm sorry, the podcast. 67 episodes. Which one was your favorite?
Oh man, it's such like God, it's so hard to say. It's like when you have friends or kids or in your dating life. It's like every one of them was different, and every one of them was amazing and terrible at the same time. No, I think there was generally some great insights coming from people. I was really impressed with, it's really hard to keep them apart. Carl Orsburn, which I think his episode should launch soon, and Meredith Sandlin. They're just so brilliant, and they're at the absolute forefront of digital transformation from a hardware and software side. Earlier you mentioned a lot of the transformation that's happened on the front end, like my drive-throughs and my lines and everything. It's easy for people to not know unless they were in the industry and forget if they are no longer in the industry. There's an entire back office engine behind the scenes that have to make stuff work. So, I mean, they're in the nitty gritty, especially Meredith. She's absolutely crushing it. So much insight. And both of those episodes were episodes where I wish I could have had more of a Joe Rogan format where it would have been 3 or 4 hours long. Surprising was Chef Scott Conant. One, I was surprised that he agreed to come on. So that was awesome. For those that don't know, he's on TV networks. He's very well known. What was so surprising is his approach, his demeanor, his intelligence, and just him. It was just a really, really good talk and one of my prouder moments as well.
Very cool. I mean, it's interesting to me, as obviously I've seen podcasts, and doing this now, being on this side is really, really interesting because it is all about the guest and it's what they have to bring. And I sit back and I ask myself too, like, what do people want to hear? What are they going to want to see? And I'm thinking about people that have just great stories, entrepreneurs, people that have built things from nothing, people that have just really, taken a category, if you will, and expanded on it. That's the kind of stuff that excites me. I don't know if that's something that everybody else would glom onto. I mean, I know the technology, obviously all about food and beverage and restaurants and all that, but the technology is super important. It's changing at light speed. Did you spent most of the time with the technology side of things in the restaurants, or did you find that just hearing people's personal stories about how they got involved, do you think that's intriguing to the guests?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, the reason why I'm so passionate about restaurants is they are the backbone of every single economy, from micro local the whole way to federal. And I think people forget that. And that includes franchise systems and franchisees. If you lose restaurants in a city center, you've lost the city center. It happened, I would say, decades ago. For instance, down the street from Harrisburg in York. York was a ghost town. What brings people back? Food. Restaurants do. Good restaurants. And then comes the retail, and then comes the businesses because they want their people to be in a bustling location with lots to do. And then comes the residences. People want to live there. But without the restaurants, you get none of that. Right. And so that to me is such a powerful thing. And I think in that vein, the stories of how people got into that powerful industry are always interesting. I think founders, how did you found the concept and grow it, is another one. Everyone wants the secret sauce, yet no one wants to realize that there is no secret sauce.
Right.
and that the secret sauce from 1980 is not the secret sauce from today. And then I think how things are evolving today, and how do these leaders continue to grapple, wrestle, pin down, and ultimately win in an ever-changing environment with all these shifts that seem to have accelerated so quickly after the big P.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. So what do you think's next for restaurants? I mean, the technology you're working on obviously is exciting. We do marketing of restaurants. I mean, I'm sure we'll continue to work together in the future. What do you see as, I don't know, what's next? What do you think is going to be the new thing, or the thing that we have to really understand?
Yeah, I think some of it is aligned with every other industry. Mediocrity has no place any longer. There's no place for it. AI, the first victims of AI are going to be those that phone it in. Mm-hmm. So your mediocre hamburger, it won't be there anymore. Or if it is, it's going to be replaced by robotics and AI in general. I know it's a really big 2 letters, but at some point, I think we'll also see a complete shift away from the mindless person punching keys on a register, and instead becoming more of a helpful entity to help people actually order from kiosks. You kind of see it happening in retail already, especially if you've used the self-checkout at grocery stores or like Target or something. There are people there whose job is to just help. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you're able to get through. I think we're there, especially for QSR restaurants. There are restaurants out there that don't even have those people. They just have cubbies. And there's a person in the back that makes the food, puts them in the cubby, just like the old automat. Yep. It's been rejuvenated, and there is a time and place for it. And I think we're at both right now. Full service, I think you're going to see a divide. You're going to see a bigger schism between casual dining and fine dining, where fine dining gets even higher touch with people who actually not only know the wine menu, but actually know the nuances of the wine, if that's an option at this particular fake restaurant, that are very deeply integrated and are very high touch. And most of us have had that experience. And when you go to that and then you go to like a sort of fine dining or just full service, man, that's just going to get so much bigger. Whereas casual dining, I think, will become more tech enabled to where you can be more self-service, but still have that sit down moment. And then there's the great frontiers of self-delivery or self-driving vehicles and what that means for delivery. Can I sit in my vehicle of the future and order directly from my screen that's in the car without getting in an accident, of course? And then what does virtual worlds and the metaverse start to look like in general? And that's where I start to get really weird with, 3D printed food and things like that. But everything that sounds insane today, next year probably won't be insane at all.
Yeah. Very interesting. How about you spent a lot of your time branding and helping create concepts. What do you see? I mean, there's so many out there. Do we have too many? What do you think is going to happen? Is there a genre that you think is going to be prevalent or a place that people are going to head to? I mean, I don't think we need another burger joint, right? I mean, there's just so many burger joints, right? So what do you think? What do you think from a branding standpoint? What's going to be what's next?
Yeah, I feel like if you ask any one of the pundits that talk about trends and what's coming, they're always going to jump to bugs. Like I swear every year I see a food trends report, not on the retail side, but maybe on the retail side. But when I'm looking at restaurant stuff, it's like, and bugs, bro, we are not eating bugs. It's not happening unless there's like some sort of nuclear holocaust. Like Americans specifically will not be eating bugs. Yeah. But I think... I think outside of that, there are a number of paths that can happen for concepts. I think exploring robotics, exploring alternative 4-wall experiences. Like I know some folks who are embracing all outdoor, where the food is cooked outdoors, everything's outdoors. Very guerrilla, very interesting to me. I don't know if it would have enough sustenance, but as far as trending, we just, I think, finished up the chicken sandwich wars. I think taco wars are bubbling, and we're seeing it. Taco John's, for instance, just released their trademark of Taco Tuesday, along with a call to action from Taco Bell to do something charitable when they use it and donate. Taco Bell ignored it completely, but we'll see if they embrace it. But the fast food tacos are something that I would definitely keep my eye on. And then I think we're still looking for what's that next American food staple. We have tacos, pizza, we have hamburgers, like you said. What else? What else are we going to embrace?
Yeah. It's funny. I had this idea. One of my dreams was I wanted to create my own restaurant franchise. So my idea, which was a terrible one, by the way, is I wanted to buy a location near every single A, double A, triple A ballpark, right? And I wanted to call it baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie. And I just wanted to sell hot dogs and have different hot dogs on the menu, named after the players, tied into the players, and then different apple pies. That's it. And then draft beer. So you can have it outside the ballpark. It would be a sports bar and everything else. I just thought it had enough of a niche. And I always wanted to create that business. I just thought it would be the most fun thing. Anyway, I never did it, but maybe one day.
It's probably why you still have money.
Fail. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It'd probably fail. So, I know how to stay in my lane.
Right.
All right. So great. I mean, this has been fantastic. Now we're going to go down through memory lane a little bit here and ask you some questions. We're going to test you on your knowledge of your guests and Boy, I hope no one ever does this to me. We're gonna, and I'll remember my first guess. I'm good. I got that one down. So that's 3 things I got nailed down from this interview. Who was your first Forktales guest?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. The first Forktales guest was my friend Sam Slaughter. He was also copywriter at Vigor at the time, too. Known for bathing with a bunch of cheese balls.
Well, we won't dig into that any deeper. But anyway.
Listen to the episode.
All right. So which guest did you have on the show more than once?
Justin Bartek.
Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Let's see here. Which guest is described in his episode as, let's see here, lover of seafood and honesty?
That is Chef Andrew Gruel.
Man, you're nailing them here. You might have, someone give you the answers? Finish this quote from your interview with Meredith Sandland. If someone comes here and tries to take my blank, it's going to get really ugly.
My gas stove.
Very good. Very good.
I stand by that.
All right. Which guest beat Bobby Flay?
Kenny Gilbert, right?
That's correct. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Very good.
Best chicken sandwiches, man. If you're ever in Jacksonville, chicken sandwiches and champagne. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Sounds like a perfect combo. All right. Which guest was born and raised in Hawaii and is now a chef in Denver?
Chef Troy Guard.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. All about that aloha, Ohana.
And which guest said said my job as lead creative is to give everyone creative whiplash. You never know where we're going to do next.
That is the guy from Liquid Death whose name I'm blanking on. Andrew
Pearson.
Pearson, there it is. Yep.
Yep. Very good. And the folks at Liquid Death are killing it. No pun intended. So
yeah.
All right. Finish this quote from you in your interview with Lauren Fernandez. You can tell how well a restaurant is managed if you just look at the...
Oh, God. Landscaping? No.
You know what? The only thing they wrote down was blank. So I can't answer it. The only one I don't have an answer on, you don't have an answer on.
Yeah.
How about the bathrooms? I would say the bathrooms.
Bathrooms for sure. Landscaping, oddly enough, is one. And then I would say the happiness of the employees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but they may all be wrong.
All right. Oh, no, it's here. The vents.
Oh, God, the vents. Yes. Oh, next time you're at a restaurant, either do or don't. Just look up at the air vents, man.
Yeah.
How can I forget that?
We're all looking around my office now at the air vents, but
well, the good news is you're not making food, but there's something pretty disgusting if you're making food and those air vents are just clopped full of old grease and ugh.
That's funny. Which guest was described in her episode title as one woman economic engine?
Oh, that is Adina Bayo. She's absolutely wonderful.
Very cool. Finish this quote from you in your interview with Zach Anderson. Whenever I have a bad day, I think to myself, at least I'm not.
Oh, God.
Ties into restaurants.
Yeah. At least I'm not working on one again. At least I'm not mopping the floor. Is that what that isn't it? No. Oh, I'm blanking on that one.
It's honestly, it's how I started my career. It's bussing tables.
Bussing tables. Yeah, dude. Oh, God. Although, if we ever wanted to know the key to stopping time, that's it. You can literally stop time by either doing planks or bussing tables.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, though, and all joking aside, I got one heck of an education from bussing tables. I worked in a restaurant called Hobart's with a gentleman by the name of Hobart Umberger. Hobart was this chef. He had a restaurant that sold a lot of quantity food. It was called Ummy's in Hershey. And he's got older and he just wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. He wanted to do his thing. So as the chef, he opened up Hobart's, named after him, white tablecloth. He made maybe 5 things a night. Didn't care if you liked it or not. And that's what he made. It was as simple as that. But he taught me everything. I won't get into what he called me as a nickname. I think he actually liked me, but I can't say to anybody what he called me. But anyway, I digress. He taught me how to pour mixed drinks because I'd have to make mixed drinks at the end of his night. He basically taught me everything I knew about food and wine. I got an incredible education at age, I think it was 14. Like I knew more about wine at 14 than anybody in my family and all my friends, just because Hobart would teach me. And it was actually pretty cool. In fact, one thing that was kind of neat was he would go in at 3:00 in the afternoon and make his coconut cream amaretto pie. And no one was allowed in the building. And Gourmet Magazine begged him for his recipe, and he would never give it to him. So he died with it. It was kind of an interesting thing. They'd write him letters because a lot of prominent people that came through Hershey always ate there. It was the best restaurant in Hershey, and people would write letters to the magazine. And so they kept begging him for this. So anyway, kind of a neat
I love
thing,
that.
but yeah, it was cool. And I really did truly get a phenomenal education from bussing tables and working in that restaurant business. All right.
Well, I think that's a testament to the restaurant industry in general, not to diverge too much, but again, not only is it the economic backbone of every locale, but it's a hell of a way to get a hard knocks education that is unforgettable no matter where you go after that. I mean, you're the principal partner of a very large advertising conglomerate. I'd be willing to bet that your travel to that layer would have been a little bit more difficult had you not been in the trenches at that location. Look,
in a restaurant, you learn how to hustle, right? You learn how to deal with issues as they pop up, because that's what they do. They just pop up, and you have to deal with customers, and you got to make everyone happy. So you learn a lot about yourself. You don't have 5 layers of folks around you to protect you per se. And it's just really kind of an interesting kind of dynamic, and you're just thrown into it, especially when you're young. I've always wanted my kids to work in a restaurant and also somehow do sales. I don't care if you're selling Girl Scout cookies or newspapers. I mean, I'm really dating myself here, but whatever it would be that you're selling, just a sales job, huge education.
Absolutely.
That you don't even know you're getting, So anyway, you had a great thing. At the end of every one of your podcasts, you would ask the same questions, and I want to continue that tradition. So you have one last meal. What do you eat and why?
Yeah. So for those that have ever listened to all of them back to back, which is literally nobody except for me, I've answered it. And I thought about this again, because I did know this question was coming, and it hasn't changed. I would have a Thanksgiving dinner. Absolutely, hands down. It's my favorite meal. And I have the unique situation where I know that that's what I would choose, because there was a time in my life where I thought I was having my last dinner.
Nice.
And
not nice,
before. Yeah, I mean, good perspective.
Right.
I was going to I had heart surgery. So although it was fairly, safe, it's still heart surgery, Sure. And so I was like, this very well could be the last meal. Thanksgiving dinner, man. Absolutely.
Now, I got a side question. Would it be just the meal itself because you love like the turkey and the gravy by yourself? Or are you talking Thanksgiving dinner with everybody that you normally have a Thanksgiving dinner with? And hopefully none of your family's going to watch this to know the real answer. So,
yeah, absolutely. I'd be selective with who I broke bread with, because there's some family members that I love them because they're family, but my God, I would not want to have my last meal with them. And I think that's everyone. But for the food's sake, I could eat it alone and be happy. For the sake of the moment, I absolutely would love my family to be there.
Fantastic. Speaking of family, you have some big news.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. Number 2, our second baby is on the way. Evelyn, our first, is about to turn 10 months at this time of this recording. And baby boy will be here by the end of the year. And we're really excited and honored and praying for health and happiness.
Are you going to be the oldest father in the elementary school?
Absolutely. I'm going to be in there with a walker.
That's awesome, Joe. I've known you for a long time, and I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you, and congratulations. That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, I'll drop one more piece of news that might get you excited before this is all over. In case you haven't heard, Atlanta has finally been honored by being accepted into consideration for Michelin stars.
Nice.
So we were everyone in the food community here in the city, we're all hoping and excited to see if one of our many fantastic restaurants will be graced with stars, whatever it may be.
Very cool.
So next time you come down to the city, hopefully you'll have that option.
Yeah, I'll be down in a couple of weeks. I'm going to watch a Braves-Phillies game, so looking forward to that. And I heard some in the background, some cheering, I think it was, or yelling. Somebody was, their baby, I think, was excited about the Michelin star. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for this. It's been great. It's always good catching up with you, and I know we'll stay in touch. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to hearing the guests and hearing the interviews, and really happy that you're able to continue on with this. Yeah. Hopefully I can fill your shoes. It'll be tough, but I'm going to do my best. So they're not that big. Awesome. Thanks, Joseph. Yep. Cheers.